Hello everyone, good morning. So today I wanted to give you an overview of my solar. I did it a couple days ago and I filmed the first day but completely forgot the second day. Oops. But it's finally done for the most part. I made a few changes which I'll go over as I'm walking through it, but I wanted to show you guys what I did. Just for some reference, this is my new trailer, new to me. It is a 2020 Rockwood Mini Lite 2506S. So it's a front kitchen, has one slide, is about 26 feet long. So for reference, that's what I'm working with when I did this solar install. So without further ado, let's go take a look. Okay, so Kyle and I are working on my solar, and I'm going to show you what we got started with. We've got Kyle right here, the maid, and this is what we're working with. Okay, so the space that we're working with is right here in this compartment. I don't have a ton of space, so I cut this hole, goes through the floor and through the underbelly, and that's where I'll route the wires to the battery. The battery on the front here is going to be a lithium battery, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. It's going to connect to the combiner box, up to the solar charge controller, and then the solar charge controller, the wires will run down the frame and up to the refrigerator where I'll drop the wires from the roof.
Yeah, that's probably good right there as far as how we want it in here. It'll be that side there. So let's.
Well, no, it'll flip.
Well, yeah, the battery will.
Yes,
yeah.
it'll be on this side.
No, the negative will be over here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So let's cut it right there. Okay. So just keep track of that.
That's where we're going to mount the inverter. We've got the combiner box hooked up. It's not actually hooked up, but this goes to the batteries down the side, then up to the battery. And this is our Romex that's going to go to the back of the distribution box. And this is the inverter. 3000 watt Renogy pure sine wave. So we are putting on the Romex, and we didn't have the connection to the inverter very stable. So we looked in our tools, and I have some connectors, but they were too wide to fit on the inverter terminals. So we just cut them down and made them a little bit smaller so that they do fit. And that's what you gotta do sometimes when you want things to work without having to drive an hour to the store that they might not even have the right thing. So okay, so the next thing we're installing is this automatic transfer switch. So we're basically going to make this our transfer for shore power versus solar.
Versus inverter power.
Yeah, inverter power. I originally had the Renogy Rego 3000 watt inverter charger. That's what I had in my truck camper. I really like that. But it's too big for the compartment that all of this is going in. And it weighs like almost 70 pounds. And this trailer is like, it's a trailer, but it doesn't have a ton of cargo capacity. And it doesn't have a ton of exterior storage. And I didn't want to give up like all of my exterior storage to be able to have a giant solar setup. So we ended up going with the Renogy 3000 watt inverter. And just adding in an automatic transfer switch instead to basically get the exact same situation other than having to switch off some circuit breakers in like for the converter when I'm on shore power, just so I'm not in a power loss cycle. So next up is installing this, and we're taking out the distribution box, and we're going to bring the Romex from the inverter up through the floor into basically under the fridge area, attach into this, and then attach the shore power into this, and then yeah, so that's what we're doing now. Okay, so this is a little overview of the camper. That's what we're working with. And this camper, I will say, doesn't have a ton of outdoor storage or indoor storage that would be suitable for solar. So I ended up putting everything in this little compartment right here. Don't mind the insulating foam. That's to seal up some cracks. So what we're working with in here is a 40 amp Rover MPPT charger. I originally got 2 of these bad boys, but 2 of my solar panels broke, so I ended up only doing 1. Then we have that coming down to this combiner box. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so then we have the Renogy Combiner Box. These right here feed in from the battery. So it comes down here around and into my battery box. From the combiner box, we have these wires coming up to the solar charge controller. And then the solar charge controller, we have our solar wires going down to what I now have as a ground deployment, only because, see those right there? I have it set up that way because I originally had 4 panels, but since 2 of the panels broke during transit, I believe, it was just easier to only do a ground deployment, and then eventually I'm going to get some different panels that are a little bit smaller but able to handle more watts that I'll put on the roof. So we have that coming to the solar charge controller. Then from the combiner box, we also have the inverter. Right here we have a 3,000 watt inverter. Originally I had a Renogy Rego inverter charger, 3,000 watt, but this space is so small. Sorry, let me get this out of my face. The space is so small that it just wouldn't have fit. And so in order to, you know, have some room to work with, we went ahead and went with a 3,000 watt inverter. We ran some Romex up from the top of the inverter all the way up here and down. And this goes into the back of the refrigerator to an automatic transfer switch. I'll insert a picture of what that looks like in here. And so basically I have power from the inverter going into one side of the automatic transfer switch, and then power from shore power going into the other side. And then I have those going into the actual distribution box. That way, whatever one has power, the automatic transfer switch will automatically switch to that side. Then I have this USB cord plugged into this Renogy M1, which, sorry for the glare, basically just looks at my solar charge controller. This I might move inside. There's just a lot of looking up that I have to do about where I want to mount it and how I want to mount it. So like I said, those go over to this battery box, and let me show you what I've done with the battery. Drop that over there. Okay, so right here we have the battery. I went with the LiTime 12.8 volt 320 mini smart mini battery. I have my negative coming in here, and this is a ground to the chassis frame. Then I have my positive coming in here, and then this is actually my 12 volt power This wiring is a little bit unconventional, I would say, but it works for the setup right now. The back of that 12 volt is also connected to a separate battery disconnect that I do need to fix because it currently is broken, of course. But so this battery so far has given me quite a bit of power. And I only have 400 watts of solar recharging it. But that's worked out really well because, to be honest, as of right now, the only really AC power that I use is charging my phone, charging my laptop, and watching TV, really. And I usually just watch YouTube for music. If I'm like working on something, I'll have music playing in the background, or watching like YouTube or Hulu at night, but not often. But yeah, so right now it's perfect. I think eventually the plan is to get a second battery, but that's just not in the cards right now. And then, like I said, I don't want to do a ground deployment forever. What I'd like to do is get some smaller panels that are more wattage. Because the ones I have, like I said, are 1200 watts, but they are just huge. They just take up so much square footage on the roof. And with the roof being, or the whole rig being 26 feet, having less roof space, you know, if in the future I want 1200 watts of solar, for example, with the solar panels that I have now, that just wouldn't even be an option. So the goal is to basically keep an eye out for a good deal on Facebook Marketplace. That's where I got all of this stuff anyways, other than the battery and some of the wiring. Facebook Marketplace, because her and I are like this. But sorry if you can hear the wind. But yeah, so that's what we're working with right now. I will insert some footage of when we were working on it. We did everything ourselves, and Kyle from the Wandering Shores, that's who I'm with right now, him and Michelle, and he just had all of the crimpers that we needed, thank goodness. So that was really helpful. And like I said, I got scatterbrained the second day and just completely forgot. But this is the overview of what I'm working with. If you guys have any questions or comments or any ideas for how I could improve it in the future, because that's definitely something I want to do. I know that right now this is a pretty base model for solar, but if it fits, it ships, you know what I mean? So, and right now it fits. So that's what we're working with, and I'm really excited because now I can at least go places and be able to watch some TV and charge my phone at night. And, you know, if I want to, I don't know, if I want to use my espresso machine, which I haven't cracked out yet because I haven't had AC power, but if I want to do that, now I can do that. It's nothing fancy, but the options become much more enhanced. So if you guys have any questions or any recommendations, please feel free to drop them in the comments. And if you're not already, hit the like and subscribe for more videos about my life in this new camper, and what it's like traveling as a solo female on the road. Also, I should note, I actually met Kyle at RV Technician School down at the NRVTA in Athens, Texas. So right now I'm building my business, Wildflower RV Repair, so that I can, you know, travel around the US and do RV repair along the road just to, you know, help support my lifestyle in the way that I want to live. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Thank you so much and have a good day. Bye-bye.